Good evening and welcome. This is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I am Norlin Evel Ame with the news. We begin with politics. Governor Godwin Obaseki and winner of the just concluded Edo governorship election has expressed formal appreciation to President Muhammadu Buhari for keeping faith with his promise of ensuring that the will of Edolites prevails. The governor stated this while leading a high-powered delegation from the heartbeat of the nation to the State House on a thank-you visit.
The whole world has acclaimed that the Edo elections were perhaps one of the best conducted elections in recent times in Nigeria. This could not have been possible without your insistence that the right things be done. And for that, we want to say thank you very, very much.
My single desire is to make sure that innocent people don't suffer. That message I got across to the Inspector General of Police, that elections must be free and fair. If contestants have too much money and they decided to spray, so be it. But what I insist, nobody should go and raise a counter force to the government. Armed thugs, heavily drugged, to go and humiliate people. I want Nigerians to appreciate that I respect them as Nigerians.
I'm still talking politics involving all stakeholders to ensure a credible and successful election in Ondo is critical at this period. This is why the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) is engaging traditional rulers in Ondo State for them to use their revered tool to influence their subjects in avoiding electoral malpractice. Abiola Ario reports.
The meeting of the INEC National Chairman with traditional rulers in Ondo State is to seek the support of the Obas who have direct influence on their subjects and to bring to the consciousness of electorates and political actors the need to follow electoral guidelines during the conduct of the governorship election.
To continue to appeal to political parties, candidates and their supporters for peace, as you have always done in your domains. Secondly, to call on your people to observe the rules of personal and public safety. Thirdly, we seek for your prayers for peace in Ondo State.
The traditional rulers acknowledged the efforts of INEC and the preparation for the election and are optimistic that the outcome will be accepted.
They were promising us now that the election will be free. The three candidates, that the election will be free and fair. And that's what we want in Ondo State.
In my community, I'm going to start to be addressing them on how to do things in a way that we will satisfy ourselves as the government.
As the Ondo State governorship election is fast approaching, INEC says collective efforts of all in the state will make the poll a peaceful and successful one. In Akure, Abiola Rio, NTA News.
Away from politics to other news now, the bilateral dialogue between the federal government and the organized labor to resolve impending nationwide industrial action over electricity tariff and hike in pump price has been adjourned to Monday, the 28th of September 2020. The decision was reached after several hours of discussion and consultation by both parties on what the next line of action will be. Emmanuel Aimero reports that though it was a closed-door meeting, at the end, both parties adjourned.
That each and every one of us has the interests of Nigeria at heart. None from the side of labor that are asking for the best of welfare for their workers and for the people of Nigeria is less qualified or less patriotic. Those of us that are on this side of the divide, looking at the books, looking at the situation, the economics and the dynamics of the current situation that are propelled to make certain recommendations to government as to how we can have an economy that will be sustainable, an economy that will be able to provide for the good of our people, but also survive the storm that is confronting us.
Fruitful meeting. They are going back to their organs. The government side are giving proposals to them on the palliative to cushion the effects of the rise in petroleum products and electricity. We have requested them to shelve the strike. We have appealed to them.
No, we adjourn till Monday by 3 p.m. Okay. Yeah. All right.
As a testament to the positive impact of the Ogoni land cleanup project, Minister of Environment Muhammad Abubakar has received 7 completely remediated lots from the hydrocarbon pollution remediation project HYPREP. Robinson Daratide reports that the handing over ceremony was done in Eleme, River State.
Given the importance attached to the Ogoni cleanup project, the Minister of Environment, Muhammad Abubakar, and the Minister of State, Sharon Ikeazu, were on ground to receive the completed lots. The completed lots are 2, 5, 6, and 8 in Eleme local government area, Lot 10 in Gokana, and Lot 17 and 18 in Tai local government area. Officials of the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency, NOSTRA, have taken samples of the site for analysis and certification.
We assure the Ogoni people that we will sustain progress on the cleanup of impacted sites and all the other recommendations contained in the UNEP report.
You will protect your land. You will make sure your land is fruitful. If you don't do it with us, how can we achieve it? So let us continue in that way.
IPREP contends that about 582 community workers earned a living while the contract lasted.
We have also, during this period, commenced training of 1,200 women, 400 of which are currently just being trained by UNITA.
The minister is expected to present the lots to the president after NOSTRA certification. From Eleme in River State, Robinson Delateide, NTA News.
The current efforts at changing Nigeria's status on the global ranking in open defecation and enhancing good hygiene is being taken a notch higher. Minister of Water Resources Suleiman Adamu, while reiterating the federal government's commitment towards achieving an open defecation-free nation by 2025, commended Nollywood actress Stephanie Linus over her video post on social media tagged Hygiene First campaign. Oluseyi Adeagbo reports.
When she's about to give birth, she's locked up with some quacks. And then when she's about to die, they remember there's a freaking clinic around the corner. What is wrong with all these people?
When a name is mentioned, you first thought of the world of entertainment. Both Nigerian actress, film director, and model Stephanie Linus is navigating the world of hygiene as a serious campaigner.
Practicing good hygiene is a collective responsibility we all must share.
The Imo State-born actress who has taken to the social media gives reasons for this additional vocation.
As a citizen, I felt that I want to live longer. I need a good environment to live in. I'm like, so why can't I have it? So then I asked the question, what can I do? So I figured out that there are things that I can do, and I took proactive actions in doing them.
The organized private sector for water, sanitation and hygiene has been coordinating interventions to end open defecation in Nigeria. The effort by Stephanie Linus is part of achievements recorded in the multi-stakeholders collaboration towards eradicating open defecation in Nigeria. It explains why the OPS WASH coordinator is bringing Stephanie to the Water Resources Ministry. Suleiman Adamu appreciated the initiative of the actress and decorated her as the latest WASH ambassador in Nigeria, with an assignment to bring more persons in the country's entertainment industry on board.
But the point is, we want behavioral change. People should understand is they have a responsibility to themselves.
For the actors saddled with the task of ending open defecation in Nigeria by 2025, the commitments seen in recent times are indications that removing Nigeria from the global list of open defecation endemic countries can be a reality. In Abuja, Oluseyi Adiagbo, NTA News.
From Abuja, we move you over to Cross River. The Cross River State Government is issuing an ultimatum to owners and operators of unregistered health facilities in the state to get appropriate certification or face the full wrath of the law. This was at the inauguration of the Health Inspection Committee to serve in the task of stamping out quackery in the health sector due to the recent spike of unprofessional activities in the state.
Desirous of achieving universal health coverage in Cross River State, as well as protecting and preserving lives from the hands of quacks and other uncertified practitioners, the Cross River State government, in conjunction with various medical associations in the health sector, is establishing the Inspection Task Force. The mandate of the task force is to clamp down unregistered health facilities, including hospitals, pharmacies, maternity homes, laboratories, mortuaries, among others.
This is a task force that will go all out to build the system and stop all the wrong things that are going on in the health sector as it concerns illegality, quackery, amongst other issues.
We expect the media to be a very strong part of that advocacy and that reach out. So we're going to work with everybody. Even the patient who receives care in every facility has an open opportunity to seek redress if he or she witnesses unwholesome practice.
We are saying this committee is all out with a passion, and we're going to pursue it to a logical conclusion to stem this tide.
Creating strong network with security agencies, traditional rulers and Nigerians, the menace of quacks who pose as medical experts, inflicting enormous pain, suffering, harm and sometimes death to unsuspecting victims, is expected to reduce in the state. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
The Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodinma, says the government is making appreciable progress in its effort to sanitize the civil service payroll system. He made this known in Owerri at a meeting with permanent secretaries and directors of accounts over issues of delay in payment of some civil servants and pensioners. Bright Ebucho reports.
It is on record that the immediate past administration in Imo State had embarked on verification exercise to ascertain the actual number of civil servants and pensioners in the state, but were unable to complete the process following the change in government. Governor Hope Uzodinma, while addressing claims of non-payment of salaries and pensions, affirms that the state government has paid those who have complied with the automated system procedure, noting that those yet to receive theirs have issues with some of the requirements.
Beneficiaries refuse to bring their BVN forward, having automated. We have cases where out of 11-digit BVN, beneficiaries brought 10-digit BVN. We have cases where if your name is Emmanuel Ago, you use Emmanuel Ago to receive salary in one MDA, and you use Mr. E.A. to receive salary in another place, using the same BVA.
He advises that those with pending issues and have genuine claims should lodge their complaints with the Office of the Head of Service, stressing that government remains committed to ending all lingering issues concerning salaries and pensions. In Owerri, Bright Ebuju, NTA News.
From Owerri, we bring you back to Abuja as part of the celebration to mark 20 years of Independent Corrupt Practices Commission in fighting corruption and other related offences in Nigeria. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria advised the speeding up of investigation and legal procedures leading to the prosecution of an offender involved in corruptive practices. While commending the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari in supporting the fight against corruption, Chairman of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, Professor Bolaji Osonoye, says to ensure transparency and accountability in practice, there is need to leverage on human technology.
See if they are corruption prone, if you are an accident waiting to happen. If you are in a vehicle and the driver is speeding and the guy has been drinking something, you know that's an accident waiting to happen. But you can prevent that accident from happening by saying you have to stop here, or somebody forces the driver to stop. The system study review gives indications of corruption risk. And then ICPC can say, we saw this. You have to correct it. We'll give you a chance to explain why it is the way it is. And if you have the explanation, we have to tell you to stop it. If you don't, we can actually prosecute you.
He also maintained that the public need to be educated on the evil of corruption and the consequences if caught in the act. You're still watching Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Let's pause for a break. We'll come back shortly. Please stay with us. Thank you for rejoining us on Nationwide. We now join Dotun in Lagos for an update on gas explosion tragedy. Dotun, give us the update.
Thank you, Nolene. Residents of Ifako Ijaye are still in shock over a gas explosion which occurred Thursday. While some victims are in severe pains, others are counting their losses. Adeola Komi Akere reports.
Following the gas explosion at Ifako Ijaye, Lagos, activities were disrupted. People ran helter-skelter to avoid being victims. A day after, when NTA News visited the scene of the gas explosion, it was discovered that the area had been cordoned off and several business outlets shut down. The devastation affected churches, event centers, markets, office complexes, and residential buildings. The casualty figure is quite high. Loveth Amarachi, a 34-year-old trader, shared her experience.
Let them do something about this, because I don't know about other people, but I'm a true victim, and I know what I'm talking about. I barely, with 5 seconds, escaped death. What about my business? What about the lives that were lost? No one wants to speak. I can't bear it, because I myself, I'm in pains. It took me hard to cry.
The gas explosion hit me, so I was roving in the gutter, trying to save myself. So I ran away. So when I came back, things are destroyed. My house has collapsed already. My car burnt and different stuff.
Just like Lovett, other residents are still traumatized.
I was affected because I want to save the lives of my people in my community.
This type of incident occurred not quite long, I think a couple of weeks back. It still boils down to the fact that some of the operators of all these filling stations, service stations, are careless. And it's high time government, began to look into all these things with a view to getting them to observe strictly all the rules and regulations guiding their operations.
The residents of Ifako Ijaye called on key players to support government in putting a stop to gas explosion. In Lagos, Adeola Komiakere, NTA News.
Giving impetus to ports operations to thrive during the COVID-19 pandemic is unsacrificial, and any attempt to circumvent the conventional practice will attract sanction or total selling off. This warning was sounded by the Nigerian Shippers Council to bonded terminal operators who collect charges on transfers not initiated by the consignee. Michael Olale reports.
This is one of the various bonded terminals spread across Lagos. A child of necessity to decongest the trade corridor in Apapa. But the fulfillment of this mandate has its own fair share of challenges. Imposition of arbitrary charges in the name of transfer and storage fees are not just frustrating cargo facilitation, but suffocating businesses.
We cannot just come and begin to charge people for transfer when we didn't do any work.
Tony Asidiachi, a terminal operator, trying to justify the charges. But it is an excuse that has no place within the legal framework of cargo evacuation, based on the simple logic that freight paid at source covers movement of cargo to final port of delivery.
I think what has been happening is informal arrangement. We cannot have informal arrangements. The shipper cannot pay for what is not his responsibility.
Aside these, the regulatory agency is reviewing the operational procedures of all bonded terminals with a view to automating processes, upgrade infrastructure, and ensure easy accessibility.
It is also our duty to work with Nigerian customs that license them to ensure that whenever a terminal is going to be licensed, its location, its suitability, must be taken into consideration.
The interest of the Nigerian Shippers Council is to ensure that more than 40 million arbitrary charges collected from port users are refunded, while drastically reducing the cost of doing business within the ports. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NTA News.
And that's the update from Lagos. It's now back to Nolin in Abuja for the continuation of Nationwide.
Thank you very much, Dotun. Remediation work has begun at Felele, where deep potholes and failed sections of the road led to traffic gridlock and a tanker accident with high number of casualties on Wednesday. Jacob Sani reports.
Following the tanker explosion along Okene-Lokoja Road in Kogi State that claimed at least 23 lives, federal government directed immediate work on bad portions of the road. The rehabilitation of Felele Road requires planning, design, construction, operation, and regular maintenance after the carnage which occurred on Wednesday. Director, North Central Federal Minister of Works, Yusuf Jimo, says this is to ensure safe and effective movement of people and goods from one point to another.
But the main works, the main contractor that is working on this road has been directed to commence full rehabilitation of this section.
State Controller, Federal Minister of Works, Jimo Kajagbola, says the need for highway engineering for vehicular access road and traffic flow are paramount and absolute necessity.
There was report of the accident yesterday, which His Excellency, the Governor of Kogi State, reported to the Honorable Minister, and the Minister immediately took action to communicate to all the directors and the MD FEMA to find immediate solution to the problem around this area.
The job supposed to be for Ministry of Works from Abaji to Itakpe, but since a directive has been given, that is why we are here to carry out the needful.
Site workers of FEMA will fill the overlays and pavement after removal of the failed portions. Gradual and sloping as well as binding of the surface courses will follow, while the asphalt surfacing and eventual completion will be final rollout of the highway. From Felele Lokoja, Jacob Sani, NTA News.
From Lokoja, we move over to Bauchi, where the Nigeria Customs Service Federal Operations Unit, Zone D, Bauchi, has confiscated smuggled items worth duty-paid value over 31.1 million naira. Comptroller of the zone, Adesomi Joseph Omie, said the seizures were made during the recent anti-smuggling operations carried out by the operatives of the unit. Awal Abdullahi reports.
The Nigerian Customs Service Federal Operations Unit Zone D Bauchi has embarked on anti-smuggling operation across the zone, where they confiscated items with a duty-paid value worth over 31.9 million naira. Comptroller of the zone, Adesami Joseph Omuye, noted that the items were seized between April to September this year.
The actions of our operatives is in line with the provision of Section 8, Section 147. Officers to have power to search premises without warrants. I have to emphasize this because some of these consignments were picked from where they were stored. So a lot of people were feeling, how will you just go into somebody's store, warehouse and start picking rice? But we have the power as entrenched in our enabling acts to enter any premises without warrant to search and to make any seizure.
The seized items include 1,230 bags of foreign rice, 25 jerrycans of foreign vegetable oil, 22 cartons of foreign spaghetti, 562 jerrycans of premium motor spirit, and 14 vehicles used as a means for transporting the smuggled items. In Bauchi, Awal Abdullahi, NTA News.
The Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria is taking practical measures to ensure full enforcement of standards in the erection of story buildings across the country. The measures are part of efforts to secure the nation's infrastructure and lives of citizens. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports.
Is the Regulatory Council for Practicing Engineers in Nigeria and are bothered over the spate of failing and collapsed building in the country, leading to huge losses of lives and investments annually. This is why the council is pushing hard to reinvigorate structural components for the certification and ethical practice of engineering profession in Nigeria, with standards as its target.
Among others, 2 engineering practitioners involved in the collapse of the 8th floor hotel building in Imo State have been invited to face the engineering investigating panel with their names published in 2 national dailies.
So far, 10 different cases of professional misconduct is facing investigative panel, out of which 5 are referred to tribunal, 3 dismissed, while 2 are pending. The council is also committed to the implementation of Washington Accord, increased involvement of domestic manpower in the national construction cycle, and improved curriculum to promote knowledge-based training in all accredited institutions.
Universities, no matter where they are located, teach the same curriculum. Foreign is currently meeting with relevant stakeholders and the industry through objective partnership to enhance the implementation of OBE.
Resolutions of the council is coming at its 3rd quarter review meeting for 2020 under the COVID-19 new normal. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
Amina is in our Kaduna Network Center with more reports. Hello, Amina. It's all yours for now.
Nolin, welcome to Kaduna. More communities continue to count their losses in Jigawa state as flood wreaks more havoc in several parts of the state. The recent incident, which rendered many people homeless, also destroyed hundreds of hectares of farmlands under cultivation. Ibrahim Sani, who visited these affected communities in 3 worst-hit local government areas, has the situation report.
Records from Jigawa State Emergency Management Agency confirm that 15 out of the 27 local government areas in Jigawa State have so far been severely affected, with more than 30 people killed by the flood. Thousands of hectares of farmlands under cultivation have been submerged, while several mud houses have been destroyed, forcing occupants to take refuge in primary schools, while several others are squatting with their extended families. Roads are not spared as the flood cut off some communities Seringim, Taura, and Guri areas to major towns. Narrating their ordeal, some of the victims, particularly rice farmers, described the disaster as a setback to the much anticipated bumper harvest this year, owing to how rice farms, among other major crops, were washed away by the devastating flood.
I make more than 1 million naira annually on watermelon production. However, this year, everything was lost to the flood. Millions of people have lost their occupation and food. The flood is affecting us negatively because we rely on farming for survival.
They expressed the hope that government and other public-spirited individuals will come to their aid in cushioning the effect of the flood. Jigawa State government has sympathized with the victims and pledged relief assistance, while the First Lady Aisha Muhammad Buhari has recently sent in some relief materials to Ringim local government area. From Duse, Ibrahim Sani, NTA News.
Nigerians from all walks of life can now report cases of corruption in all ministries, departments, and agencies of the government of Kaduna State. Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice of the state disclosed this at a training for MDAs in the state. Abdullah Mohammed reports.
Not only that those with the eagle eyes of blowing up the covers in the web of corruption will have guaranteed protection of identity, they will be rewarded handsomely. The Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice says the government of Kaduna State has hired a private entity that will be responsible for the operations of the whistleblowing policy in the state.
We have a whistleblower law. So in that law, it provides that if you give any malicious information or false information, there's a punishment under the law. If anybody makes any report, it's going to be subjected to investigation first. We're not just going to run away with the report and start doing punishing the people.
Now, commissioners, heads of parastatals and agencies from the state have been trained and sensitized on the modalities of the policy.
Whistleblowing, as we know it, is an avenue to just let the people also be part of governance. Let the people hold government accountable. Let the people be the ones to look out for wrongdoings in government. And all this does is to give government the avenue to investigate observations and wrongdoings in government.
I think it is a good beginning. But as we go along, we'll see where the gaps are, and we'll definitely try to fill them up.
Kaduna State government thereafter formalized the terms of agreement with the private firm for the commencement of the policy. In Kaduna, Abdullah Mohammed, NTA News.
And that's it from here. It's back to you, Nolin, in Abuja.
Thank you very much, Amina. First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, has joined worshippers at the special Friday prayers as part of activities marking 60th Independence Anniversary of Nigeria. State House correspondent Aliu Kabir reports that the special Friday prayer took place at the National Mosque, Abuja, headed by the Murshid of the National Mosque, Professor Shehu Galadanchi. After the two congregational prayer, the First Lady Aisha Buhari, alongside her sister, the former First Lady Ture Eradua, used the opportunity to pray for peace, development and indivisibility of the country, and they also pray to see the end of the global pandemic of COVID-19.
And also we pray to an end of this pandemic. And also we pray to our leaders, may the Almighty God touch their hearts to do the needful and to make Nigeria a better place to be.
Nigerians are very prayerful people, so we are always praying. And we pray to God Almighty that this pandemic will soon be a thing of history.
They urged all Nigerians to remain steadfast in prayer for the unity and prosperity of the country. Prices of food items at Dawano, the major commodity reserves market in Kano State, have in recent time continued to witness a slight decrease due to influx of new farm produce. Fatima Sanusi Karaye, however, reports that the end users are still groaning under the burden of cost of these items owing to nefarious activities of middlemen.
Well, no matter how expensive food is, man must eat. Zuera, a food vendor, said she used to sell a plate of rice at 200, but now it goes for 300 because of the hike in price. Yeah, we heard the prices are coming down because of the harvest, but honestly, we are still buying them so expensive.
I don't believe it is because of cost of production, because the government had done a lot. Fertilizer, government had provided, CBN is providing a lot of money to these people. Soft loan, in fact, because of COVID, they will reduce the rate of interest from 9% to 5%.
While some grain merchants in the state believe prices of food items in Kano State are gradually coming down following the arrival of new produce, customers are optimistic that the prices of food items may crush further before the year ends. At Dawano Market, the hub of grains and other food items which serve as storage center to regulate the prices of these items, commercial activities are at their peak as market forces are pushing prices down.
Regarding the price of yam, can say it's okay. With 200 naira yams, one can feed his family.
We think when there is available of the commodities, the price was dropped down drastically.
Food items like wheat, who are not even available in the market, are now sold in the market at 31,000 naira per bag. Others are maize, 14,000 naira as compared to 24,000 naira. Beans goes for 24,000 as compared to 28,000 naira. Guinea corn is sold at 20 as compared to 23,000 naira. And a bag of rice with 40 modus, formerly sold at 55,000, goes for 53,000 naira. But the end users are not able to purchase these items at these prices. In Kano, Fatima Sanusi Garai, NTA News.
Lanre in Ibadan is next on Nationwide with more reports. Take the lead, Lanre.
Thank you, Nolin, and welcome to Ibadan. The federal government has declared its intention to regulate over 44 mineral resources markets across the country as part of plans to diversify the economy from oil and gas to agriculture and mineral resources. Minister of Mines and Steel Development, Olamileko Adegbite, disclosed these during a visit to the governor of Oyo State. Ayomiku Ajibola has details.
The minister revealed that plans are already underway to get international and local investors interested in mining in the country and make it a profitable venture for both the government and the miners. He explained further that the federal government is interested in Oyo State gemstone market, noting that necessary machinery have been put in motion to regulate it and cite an economic hub gemstone center in Ibadan.
We should use this sector to create employment for our people and at the same time generate revenue for government.
While lauding the federal government's plan to regulate gemstone market through economic hub center, Governor Seyi Makinde appealed that the federal government pay close attention to Igbeti mining company and find a lasting solution to the menace of illegal miners in the country.
If we can collaborate with the federal government, that will allow us to, from the outset, key into that program.
He explained that the administration is working all around to boost the economy of the state and bring much needed development to the state through provision of basic amenities. In Ibadan, Ayomiku Ajibola, NTA News.
Underage children living in unwholesome conditions in parts of Ibadan metropolis have been taken off the streets in a raid aimed at mitigating the rising cases of indigence constituting social and economic menace in the state. Omokaide Igbari monitored the exercise. A report is presented in this package.
10 girls, 10 males and 5 adult females, including an underage homeless, living on the bridges, running after pedestrians and motorists, begging for alms, were all in the dragnet spurned by the Ministry of Women Affairs through its Department of Social Welfare.
From our findings, we find out that there is need for consistent kind of raiding like this. And we allow a specified date during the week. From there, they know that the government means business.
The only thing is that it's not our culture and it's not our religion. But I am just, I am a mother and I am a woman. So if you educate a woman, you educate the whole world.
32-year-old Nani Umoru is from Jigawa State and has been living on the streets of Ibadan for 5 years, begging for alms for survival with her children. Nani is one of those targeted to be evacuated to protect the lives of her offspring.
I'm just coming now from my grandchildren's school. I will encourage all mothers to make sure they allow their children to go to school. I don't like them. I don't like them.
The exercise, according to the ministry, will be a continuous one in collaboration with other agencies and non-governmental organizations with the aim to repatriate, rehabilitate, as well as reorientate the destitutes.
You're still watching Nationwide. More reports after this break. Stay with us.
Good evening and welcome to Sokoto on Nationwide. The Consultative Committee on the Repositioning of Education in Sokoto State has from inception to date received over 1,136 million as education levy deducted from the salaries of civil servants and the political office holders in the state. Dalato Abdullahi reports that of the figure, over 833 million naira has been expended on the construction of new and renovation of dilapidated schools.
The committee, inaugurated in 2016, was part of the recommendations of the State of Emergency Committee on Education. The committee, in partnership with the Nigerian Navy's Earth Bricks initiative, started its constructions in 2018 using the funds generated from the education levy. So far, the construction of 6 new junior secondary schools and 4 new primary schools have been completed at the areas where such facilities are lacking in the state. 7 other new junior secondary schools are ongoing and had reached various stages of completion. The construction of 100 integrated Islamia schools have also been completed. Furniture were provided in all the schools completed with solar-powered boreholes, ICT facilities, instructional materials, and solar-powered electrification, among others. The committee also handled the renovation of some structures at Gamji Girls College, Raba, and provision of furniture in the college.
It's been 3 good years, 3 very positive years, and we felt we should come and brief the governor and his executive of what we have done so far.
Well done so far, so good. We are very happy with this development because it's one of the best ways we can convince the rest of the people.
The over 30-member committee currently has the balance of over 304 million naira in its account. In Sokoto, Dalat Abdullahi, NTA News.
As part of efforts to cushion the effect of flood amidst COVID-19 pandemic, farmers in Sokoto have commenced the planting of new species of seedlings as part of activities marking the beginning of this year's dry season farming. Sheikh Muhammad Dati completes the report.
Sokoto is one of the major onion producing states in Nigeria. From April to September this year, onions worth over 4 billion naira was sold in the state. To cushion the effect of the COVID-19 pandemic and the flood in many parts of the state, the National Union of Onion Farmers has inaugurated the planting of a new variety of onions for the 2020 dry season farming. To explore the potentials of the crop, there is the need for support from private investors, companies, and government to diversify the economy from oil.
The only way forward for our government and our people is to invest in agriculture and to invest in the onion sector, because we can export onion sector to different parts of the countries.
The Onion Prime Anchor Borrowers Program is a new program aimed at bridging the gap between production and consumption, which stands at 1.4 million metric tons production capacity and 2.5 million metric tons consumption rate.
We look forward to seeing bumper harvest in this dry season and bumper harvest, inshallah, the next rainy season.
The representative of Sokoto State Commissioner of Agriculture and that of Central Bank of Nigeria assured of their organization's support to onion farmers with seedlings of different varieties, as well as providing succor for farmers affected by flood and the COVID-19 pandemic. In Sokoto, Shio Muhammad Dati, NTA News.
And that's it from Sokoto. The news will continue with Nolin in Abuja. Good evening.
Thanks a lot, Asmao. The Speaker, House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, has urged all arms of government to jointly address internal security challenges disrupting the lives of citizens. He says the National Assembly, in complementing federal government's effort, is working on legislation that will make provision for alternative source of funding to the armed forces. This was at a retreat organized by the House Committee on National Security and Intelligence in collaboration with Conrad Adenua Stiftong Foundation in Abuja. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
Security breaches in parts of the country has been a preoccupation of the Buhari-led government since assumption of office, with huge resources committed to tackle the situation. This retreat, which aims at promoting effective legislation and oversight of the security sector, will also build capacity of lawmakers for effective reforms. Speaker, House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila believes workshops such as this will reverse knowledge gaps that have affected policy making and oversight of the security sector.
A lot of the hopes we have for our country depend on our ability to guarantee the safety of our people and the security of property and investments.
Chairman, House Committee on National Security and Intelligence, Representative Shaban Sharada, says the dire need for pragmatic solutions to security makes the retreat timely and commends President Buhari for expending huge amounts on crime fighting.
Our committee is currently working on proliferation of small arms and light weapons and terrorism prevention prohibition bills to enhance security of life and property. The task of building our fatherland is our collective responsibility.
Presentations as the program centered on using legislative reforms to strengthen Nigeria's security architecture.
Our goal is to engage security agencies and parliamentarians constantly to find sustainable solutions to the issues of the security apparatus in Nigeria.
There is also an emphasis on ensuring full compliance with fundamental human rights, accountability and democratic control, and a better applications and implementation of existing legal instruments.
The retreat will last for 2 days. Lami Ali, NTA News.
And still talking security, the Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole says it has destroyed Boko Haram terrorist hideouts and neutralized several of their fighters at Bulasabu and Dole in Borno State. A statement by Coordinator Defense Media Operations, Major General John Enenche, explained that this was achieved through airstrikes executed on 23rd September 2020 to mark the launch of a new subsidiary operation tagged Hellstorm 2, which is an air interdiction operation aimed at taking out identified Islamic State of West Africa province, ISWAP, and BHT targets in the Lake Chad and Sambisa forest areas of Borno State. The attack at Bulasabu on the fringes of the Sambisa forest was executed after credible intelligence reports indicated that a group of buildings in the settlement were being used as dwelling for some Boko Haram terrorist commanders. Therefore, the Air Task Force dispatched Nigerian Air Force fighter jets and helicopter gunships, which scored devastating hits on the target buildings, including a logistics facilities, which was seen engulfed in flames. In the same vein, Dole, which is located in the Yali-Kokiwa axis near Dikwa, was targeted because the settlement was being used by the terrorists as a venue to plan and launch attacks against locations in the surrounding areas. NAV attack aircraft similarly engaged the location, inflicting heavy damage on the insurgents' structures and neutralizing several fighters. A high-profile commander of Boko Haram surrendered with his 4 wives to troops of Operation Lafia Dole in the northeast. The coordinator of Defense Media Operations, Major General John Enenche, disclosed this as another huge success in the fight against insurgency. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports.
Top are the periodic briefing that highlights major activities of armed forces operations in different political zones. Is the upscaling of counter-insurgency operations in the northeast, leading to the arrest of several criminals.
Notably, a high-profile Boko Haram terrorist commander surrendered with 4 of his wives to our troops. The operations also led to the arrest of 1 Boko Haram terrorist fighter.
In the northwest, troops of Operation Hadarindaji rescued 8 kidnapped victims from bandits in Fankami and Sabolai area of Faskari local government area of Kaduna State, while Operation Sahel Sanity rescued 11 women and children abducted by bandits along Shimfida Gurbi Road.
Additionally, Headquarters Operation Safe Haven fostered several stakeholders meetings in various parts of Plateau and Kaduna states. Areas covered include Bokos, Bassa, Mango, Jos, Barkiladi, and Rion local government areas of Plateau State, as well as Jema and Zangul Kataf, local government areas of Kaduna State.
Similarly, troops of Operation Delta Safe in the South have sustained aggressive fight against economic sabotage in Abuja. Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Next is sports update with Bade Adele.
The Nigeria Football Federation has named the coaching crew for 6 national age-grade teams, with Ladan Boso set to lead the Flying Eagles, Fataya Mao for the Golden Eaglets, Haruna Ilerika takes charge of the under-15 boys, while the under-13 boys will be coached by Abdullahi Yabo. Christopher Danjuma returns as the coach of the under-20 women's team, the Falconets, with Bankole Olowokere heading the technical crew for the under-17 girls, the Flamingos. Meanwhile, the Nigeria